Welcome to The More You Know. We're now in chapter 22 of Matthew, and we're just going to be discussing the part where the Pharisees try to trap Jesus. But this particular part, because they tried to several times, this particular part is where they sent certain men so that they would not be recognized, because obviously Jesus was making them dumbfounded and wasn't falling for the traps. So they figured they would send people that they would not recognize to entrap Jesus. And this is where he starts talking about, the coin. Where they's like, is it lawful for people to pay the taxes or to Caesar? And so they try to use that entrapment. And Jesus is like, well, what is on the coin? Caesar is. Well, then give them back. Give that which belongs to Caesar back to Caesar's, and give what belongs to God back to God. So they couldn't trap him. They just shut up from there. Here's something we didn't know. Well, a lot of people may not know that the people that the Pharisees sent was actually took from Herod's household. So they was loyalties on the loyalty list from Rome that has actually sent undercover, because by asking, so the moment he would have said, no, don't give, Caesar his money, it would have been Roman officials / guards to the king that would have heard from themselves Jesus defying what they knew. So it wasn't just, they was just saying, oh, we're going to catch you in a lie and then go report you. No, they said, so when they said entrapment, they really meant that they was really entrapping Jesus, because it wasn't just sending, they sent undercover people that belonged to Caesar, that belonged to Rome. So the moment that he would have said, no, don't pay the taxes to Rome, which they knew Jesus was kind of sort of against, Jesus was on to him. So, of course, a lot of people know that when it says in the Bible that they was going to trap him, that just meant into a lie and catch him, disobeying what was supposed to be told and what was said. Nah, they was entrapping him. That was like undercover, man. They was just sitting there hiding that police vehicle behind a bush to where you couldn't see them, so they could come out and be like, woo, woo, woo. Nope. But see, God and Jesus know everything. Not today, Satan. Not today. That's exactly what happened. Okay, moving on to chapter 23, just a little bit part of the beginning part where the Pharisees in the synagogue, and Jesus had kind of like put them in their place with their meaning, because just because they knew the law doesn't mean that they knew the law. Because Jesus was there to tell him, like, just because you had quoted and memorized the scripture doesn't mean that you actually know the true spiritual meaning of the words that was written. So Jesus kind of put them in their place, and it's talking about how that the Pharisees like to just know that they have this rank and who they are, and they're the main one that sat in the synagogue. There was a seat there that Moses sat in, which was like the highest ranking seat, like, I guess, the president chair, so to speak. So that was the seat that is referring to when it's talking about the Pharisees sat in that seat. It says Moses' seat was a special seat in the ancient synagogue where the most respected elders of the people would sit to instruct them. I'm going to skip it on down to verses 10, where not only did he put the Pharisees in their place, but, and by doing so, he still kept the law intact, showing that basically he was showing that God takes priority. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this right here. Jesus is emphasizing the priority of God over titles of men and over all teachers, fathers, and leaders. He's not teaching us to be disrespectful to the teachers, fathers, and leaders, but that God must be in first place over all, must be put in front of them. So he wasn't disrespecting them. He just wasn't disrespecting the laws when he put them in their place, but he sure was showing authority of who God was and who he was. So he kept everything respectful, because you're supposed to respect your elders and such, but you're not supposed to place nobody above God. And see, them themselves was placing themselves above God. For people to have known the law, which they didn't spiritually at all, they just used the law so they can control people and to place themselves higher and better. And that's what Jesus was emphasizing and implying when he came there and put them in their spots each and every time. That nobody is above God's law. They may have thought they was by placing themselves in certain ranks, but they wasn't above God's law. In verses 15 in chapter 24, a lot of people during that time of Jesus' time thought that Daniel's prophecy was going to be fulfilled. But Jesus is here stating that Daniel's prophecy was not yet fulfilled in Jesus' time. Many see the fulfillment of this prophecy in AD 70 when Titus, the Roman prince, went into the temple and sacrificed animals to Jupiter. But Jesus is stating that Daniel's prophecy has not yet come true because they think it is near the ends of times, when in actuality the ends of times is going to be more further out, which we can all most definitely believe that right now we're living in Daniel's prophecy. We're in like week 69. I think there was like 69 weeks that he did this prophecy, and weeks in their Bible times was actually years and such and such. And so right now we are actually living in the end part of Daniel's prophecy, because if it's the end of times, then we're definitely living in Daniel's prophecy right now. And Jesus was making sure that they knew that during his time, because his disciples thought a lot of times when they were speaking the end of times that they was referring to then. Because even though he came and he came back from being resurrection, it wasn't Jesus' second coming. It was just his resurrection. It wasn't his second coming. We all know his second coming comes near the end of times. And so therefore a lot of times the apostles thought that the end of times and everything that was going prophesied for the book of Revelations was going to be happening in their lifetime. But Jesus was making it clear right there that no, Daniel's prophecy was not coming true. This was not the end of times.